Hello, biology class of Ms.Leach. Today we are going to be learning about epilepsy. Here I have my assistant who helped me show the symptoms, diagnosis, likelihood, and history of this genetic disorder. Let us start with the symptoms of this very disorder. Seizures are the only visible symptom of epilepsy. They can range from very minor, in which you may have slight muscle stiffness, twitching, stare off into space for a few minutes, smell, or even a visual disturbance. Some are more major. The affected person could fall on the ground and start twitching and jerking out of control. They could also lose consciousness. Now on to the diagnosis. Epilepsy is normally diagnosed by the affected person having more than one seizure. There aren't really any other diagnostics, unless you get some tests done. Even the likelihood of getting this disorder is every 1 in 100 people. Now on to history. This disease dates back as long ago as 400 BC. Even around the time of the Bible was written, a passage was inside of it. Mark 9:14-29. Teacher, I brought you my son, who is possessed by a spirit that robbed him of speech. Whenever it seizes him, it throws him to the ground. He foams at the mouth, gnashes his teeth, and becomes rigid. I ask of your disciples to drive the spirit out, but alas, they cannot. I managed to get an interview with a person who has epilepsy, my aunt, Anya. What were your symptoms?
I first had myoclonic jerks that lasted only a few seconds. My arms would go up and my head would go back. Sometimes the jerks would be so forceful that if I was holding something in my hand like a fork, I would end up throwing it across the room. When I started having tonic-clonic or grand mal seizures, I would have facial twitching and I would space out. And then I would go into a full seizure. Sometimes I'd fall down, but most of the time I was able to be guided to the floor. I was sitting down.
At most, what was the worst seizure you had?
Well, all of them were bad, obviously. I didn't want to have any, but probably the ones where I had to be transported in an ambulance because they wouldn't stop. So,
what age were you diagnosed at?
Well, I first started having the myoclonic jerks at the age of 14. But I wasn't officially diagnosed with epilepsy until I was 19.
What medications did you have to take?
Well, I've taken Depakote, Trileptal, Keppra, Ativan, and Lamictal. I was placed on Depakote at 14 when I started having the myoclonic jerks. And then I was switched to Trileptal when I was hospitalized when I was 19. And then the Trileptal started giving me headaches. So then after that, I was placed on a combination of Keppra and Lamictal, and I take Ativan after I had a seizure, so I wouldn't continue to have them. And because I've been seizure-free for so long, I was able to cut back to taking only Lamictal. So that's the only medication I'm taking now.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you learned a lot about epilepsy too.